What's up everybody, Kinetic here, and welcome to a first look video of an up-and-coming Sandbox MMORPG called Albion Online. Currently this game is in its alpha stage with a beta coming up later this year and full release also expected to be sometime later this year. Albion Online offers a really fun sandbox experience, allowing you to be a powerful warrior fighting for your guild and control over regions for resources and territory, or working behind the scenes as a gatherer, a crafter, a farmer, supplying your guild or just the general player-driven economy with a variety of items. All of the gear, the weapons, the armor, and things like that are crafted by players themselves. There's not going to be drops from enemy NPCs for legendary weapons or anything like that. You will be either making it yourself or purchasing it off of a skilled crafter. Not just weapons and armor, but entire cities can be built from the ground up by players. A player may be able to, for example, make a blacksmith station that they can use privately, or that they can allow other players to use for a small silver fee. Outside of towns, explorable areas may, for example, be safe for you to roam around collecting materials or exploring minor dungeons. Other areas will be full-on PvP with full loot. That means either you or the person that killed you is walking away with the other person's loot. But before things get that crazy, it all starts right here with you naked. The character creation is pretty simple. You're going to choose a gender, hairstyle, hair color, skin color, underwear style, underwear color, and that's about it. Right now we are restricted to playing as humans, but there are going to be 6 playable races here in Albion Online. And a lot like, for example, Minecraft, where you will start just like this, naked and without anything on you, you're going to want to start gathering some simple resources so that way you can make tools and then do some even more interesting things like killing rabbits and making them into a hat. The basic materials require no tools whatsoever. This rough stone, for example, can be gathered by hand. Same thing for rough logs, also gathered by hand. But there are different tiers for the different materials here in Albion Online. For example, copper, you will need a pickaxe in order to be able to gather. Birch trees, which yield birch logs, you'll need an axe for. And also for cotton, you'll need a sickle. Once you've got some basic materials, you can visit a workbench like this and start crafting yourself weapons and armor for fighting and killing, or if you want, continue down the gathering path, getting yourself an axe, skinning knife, stone hammer, and pickaxe. It's really up to you what you want to do here in Albion Online. There's kind of a guidance system here giving you an indication of things that you can do and sort of achievements that you can unlock in certain lines of professions. And the Destiny board also gives you a greater sense of which ways you can go as far as character progression, allowing yourself to become a more formidable fighter, which will allow you to unlock more powerful types of weapons and armor, or if you want to continue gathering and crafting, then you will, for that progression, unlock the ability to make, for example, more powerful weapons and armor for yourself and for other players. For now, I just want a skinning knife because I'm tired of being naked. Let's go ahead and click on Beginner's Skinning Knife. The resources required are 3 rough logs and 3 stone. I've got that. Alright, so I've got myself a skinning knife allowing me to collect the hides of animals that I kill out in the wilds. I've also got weight limitations though that I have to consider. Yes, once I go over 100% weight capacity, then my character will start to move slower and slower, and to the point over 200%, I'll be completely unable to move. However, there are mounts in this game that will allow you to, even if you're completely overburdened to that point you can't move, you'll be able to ride a horse or an ox with your materials in your inventory. I want to talk a little bit more about the armor and sort of the free class system here in Albion Online. Essentially, I can wear any armor and use any weapon anytime that I want. So I can go ahead if I want and put on this leather armor, and if I had a bow, then I can run around as a ranger. If I want to switch to mage, simple. Just switch over to the staff and over to light armor. But actually, you don't necessarily have to wear light armor in order to be a mage. If I want, I can actually put on heavy armor and use the staff for the weapon. The weapon provides me with the combat abilities that I need. The armor provides me with different stats, for example, max hit points, max energy, and things like that. In fact, actually, depending on the material and the slot that the equipment is slotted into will provide you with a variety of different kinds of benefits. So for some builds, maybe what you might want to do is have a leather hood, a metal chest piece, and light boots because of the benefits that those armor types and the materials that they're made from provide for you. Also, there are qualities in gear as well. These normal quality boots give me just the standard kind of stats, but there are master level types of equipment as well. A chance while you are crafting or while a crafter in general is making armor may mean stronger stats for that item. If we take a look again over at the workbench, another really interesting thing about crafting an armor is how you can customize the types of powers that they have. Again, the type of material and where it goes can give you a variety of different benefits. For this beginner's leather, it comes default with a heal wounds skill, a channeled self-heal. I can also customize a variety of other benefits to this armor. So you can see there's a lot of potential here for creating a variety of different builds based on what weapon you're wearing, what kind of armor you're using, and the skills that have been built into those pieces. There are also some other accessories that you can wear as well for your character, including these bags, which increase your maximum load that you can carry, which is quite nice. We've also got capes that also have their own stats attached to them. So we're looking pretty good. Alright, so every good RPG needs towns, right? Here in this NPC-controlled town, this isn't a player-run town. We have a lot of different things that we can get into. This first item that you're probably noticing here is our character storage. Now, storage is localized per town, meaning that whatever you are storing in this town is not available in other towns. You can see that I've got a variety of materials here, from metals, woods, leathers, and stuff like that. I've actually got a considerable amount more materials in another town that I am working from, which is closer to where my island is. Every player can have their own island, and on that island they can do farming, raising animals and making vegetables and stuff like that grow. I'll talk about that more later. Let's talk a little bit about the functions of the town. Aside from the stash, we have these NPCs here that look quite familiar with exclamations over their heads. You can find a few NPCs in towns and out in explorable areas like this that have, for this case, crafting quests. You can talk to this NPC, and they will have a couple of things that you can accept, which are actually limited in time. I'm not entirely sure why they do this, but they offer it to you as soon as you talk to them, counting down from 30 minutes, and then if you decide to accept it, you will have like some 4 hours to complete that quest or something like that. But in this case, he wants me to craft 2 novice robes, hoods, and shoes. I'm going to decline that for right now. Also, aside from the crafting stations that we would need, and also material refining stations for crafting, we also have a repair and salvage station over here. Now this is quite useful because if you are crafting for the sake of trying to level up your crafting, and maybe there's just not a lot of demand for the items that you are making, you can go ahead and salvage those, and based on the durability that the item still has, you may get a little bit of materials back, or you may get a lot. I don't need these leather beginner's clothes anymore, so I'm going to go ahead and salvage them, and it looks like I'm getting some leather back. Same for tools. I'll get some wood, some stone if I want. This is a great way of sort of recycling items that you no longer need, or maybe other players don't need, or something like that, for the materials inside. There's also a Reforge system here. I am not entirely sure what this is for, but I imagine that, well, actually, let's try it. Why not? I've got a sword here. Needs full durability. Okay, that's fine. Well, we can repair it also here. It looks like it just costs some silver. 17 of the 2,000 some silver that I have. Okay. Pay. There we go. Okay, so we got full durability and reforge. I have a feeling that what this will do is it will give me a chance to decide again what skills I want built into the item. Ah, yeah, that's exactly what it is. Okay, that's actually really cool. This is my first time, as you can tell, actually taking a look at this. So I can go ahead and reforge to get different passives for the weapon. I can actually change the active skills as well that I would get from the item. That's a really nice system. Another way of sort of recycling, or in a way, just kind of changing up like maybe what decisions you've made on items that you've crafted, and maybe you're going to try one particular passive or one particular active. You decide to try something different. The Reforge can be really powerful for that. Good job on that. Just to the north of there, we can also craft mounts. Yes, if you are ready for riding a horse or getting a transportation ox, then you can actually go ahead and have those made, I guess here. It will take an ox, which I suppose would be raised on a farm, which is something I'm working towards right now, and it will take some wood because of the sort of the function that's built onto the ox. Like, they've got these carrying cases next to them, so that's what that would be for, I guess. Let's take a look at the horse really quick. Okay, so it takes a horse and some leather for, I guess, the saddle and stuff like that. Okay. You may be wondering, what is this other requirement here? What are these numbers? This is actually an endurance cost. Now, this might make you start twitching from nightmares of previous MMORPGs like labor point systems and other games. But I assure you, you have plenty of endurance for this. Endurance is used for refining and crafting and stuff like that. It's basically an energy pool for these types of activities, and once you run out of it, well, then you have to wait to regain your endurance. Now, the cool thing about what they've done here is they've given you a ton of it, and not only do they give you a ton of endurance, but it also, if you watch these numbers, it's actually regenerating pretty damn fast. Like every few seconds there's like another tick, and I have yet to, I mean, I've done quite a bit, not an incredible amount, but I've done quite a bit of refining and crafting and stuff like that, and I've watched this just go up and up and up. I really don't think we have to worry about running out of endurance. This is just basically a safety precaution to kind of prevent bots from abusing and being able to continuously farm and gather materials and craft and stuff like that. You know what? I'm tired of running. I want to get on my mount. Mounts are put into your character's sort of equipment here, and depending on the actual mount will mean, of course, different things. Like I said, the horses are mainly for travel, and the oxes would be good for helping you to transport large quantities of items. Down here in the southern end of things, you can see we've got more stations, and we've actually got some crafting, or excuse me, some resource nodes. Like, for example, down here we've got a woodworking station, right? So if I have some of this this birch wood, which I can cut down with my axe, then I can come over here to the wood station, take those birch logs and turn them into planks, again using endurance, and just like that I can go ahead and refine my materials. This goes for wood, leathers, cloth, and metals. All can be found in very limited quantities here in the town. If you're looking for a lot of materials, and you will need a lot of materials, especially for the crafting quests that are here in town, then you're really going to need to go outside. So out in the wilds, there are 3 different tiers of danger in these zones. You have green areas which are completely harmless as far as PvP activity goes. You don't have to worry about getting attacked in these areas. You can go ahead and gather materials if you want, slaughter some foxes for their hides, and you can also farm some NPC enemies as well for silver. These are a pretty decent source for getting silver, and silver is used for all sorts of different things, for paying for, like I said earlier, reforging and stuff like that. So it may be a good idea when you're low on funds to come out here and farm these guys. Now, combat is pretty simple, but that doesn't mean it's easy here in Albion Online. Pretty much everyone that I know, as far as those who have talked about this game, say try not to bite more off than you can chew. Now, it's going to be pretty easy for me against this guy because, well, my gear is pretty high compared to this area. This is really early. If I was maybe in beginner's gear, then maybe it might be a little bit more challenging. But fighting one at a time is really probably the way to go, unless you are really over-leveled for... or I should say really overgeared, because there are no levels. If you're really overgeared for an area, then yeah, by all means go ahead and pull a bunch of guys, but if you're just starting to come out here, pull one at a time, trust me. We've also got a bunch of resources out here, like I said, that we can go ahead and collect. There's a ton of copper, there's a ton of wood, and all sorts of materials around here. There are even, I think I made a mention of this, there are even small dungeons that you can go into. For example, here there's a dungeon in this area. Let's take a look actually at the world map really quick. Here we go. Slimy Cave is suitable to be explored by a single adventurer. If we scroll out a bit, we can get a better glimpse of the surrounding areas. These simple labels indicate non-PvP zones. These labels with a single skull over them means it is PvP, but it's not full loot. You will only drop silver, a partial amount of silver that you're carrying. These areas also have small dungeons that you can go into, and generally speaking there seems to be a good mixture, like I said, of both PvP and PvE in a lot of these areas. Now here's where things get really nasty. These red zones with triple skulls over their names, that's full PvP with full loot. So again, you probably don't want to be roaming around areas like that alone, unless you're feeling like a complete badass and you're ready to take on more than one enemy against real players. You probably want to travel in groups. Now, you may be wondering what's to stop this game from becoming just large Zerg fests, where it's like, you know, like 10, 15, maybe even 20 plus people or whatever running around destroying everybody, including the ones that are maybe trying to solo or something like that. Well, that's something that they are working on. They do recognize that it's kind of a problem for guilds to be able to travel like that and just large groups to wipe out smaller groups with without much hassle. They are trying to encourage more smaller group gameplay. One of the things that I'm really excited for are the Hellgates that they recently introduced. A Hellgate is where you will find a demon who will spawn in an area. Once you kill that demon, you and 4 other players will be able to explore inside of a portal that will take you to another realm, and inside there are PvE threats, some unique monsters that will also drop some very valuable crafting materials. Now the catch to this is that you and your 4 friends are not alone. Somewhere else out in the world, another demon type mob also spawned, and just like the one you killed, will spawn a portal once it's died, and an entirely different group of 5 other players can come into the same area that you're in and fight you while you may be trying to kill monsters in that area for those materials, and vice versa. You may run into a group while they're trying to farm some kind of monsters in there for whatever loot that they're dropping. So it creates a really exciting PvPvE type of scenario, but it also restricts it that it's down to only 5 people in a party can enter through a portal at a time. Now, I think I mentioned that there are both NPCs in the towns that offer you crafting quests, and there are also NPCs in the explorable areas that will offer you kill quests. You can see them down here in the little mini-map here. If I go to the larger map, there's a small settlement, like a little miniature town here in this area where there's a bunch of NPCs, and they will tell you, for example, to come over here and kill X number of archers, mages, and stuff like that. But overall, the crafting quests and the kill quests are completely optional. They're not required for your actual progression. They just give you a little bit of benefit in some silver and some other types of tokens and currencies here that are used in Albion Online. As much fun as combat is, I really want to show you guys some more stuff before this first look video comes to a closure here. We're in another town now, in Brinkwold, and this is actually one of the player-driven cities here. You can see from all of these squares here, these are structures made by players, and we can see who the owner is by their name, how many people have access. This is available to the public. The usage fee, he's charging 13% in silver, and there's some other stats that we can see there. 5% for this guy of the Warrior Forge. There's a clothing station or a weaver over here. 9%, so it's pretty sweet. You can set up your own shop, you make up your own prices, and based on that, you may have some customers, you may have a lot of customers, depending, I guess, on what your services are and what kind of taxes you're charging. This guy right here is kind of unique to these types of towns. If you talk to this gentleman, he is an island merchant. And an island merchant is someone who will sell you your own private island. And like I said before, this is where you can do your own farming. I've already got my own island, so now he's only got one other option for me right here. Travel to your island. Alright, so now I'm on the docks, and if I want, I can travel back to the mainland via this NPC here. I've also got another NPC who will sell me seeds, and these seeds are used for growing crops of carrots, corn, potatoes, etc., and things like that, which are obviously used for making food, and food is an important part of the general economy. Food is required for all sorts of different things here in Albion Online. Animals as well, for the same purpose of raising and then turning them into food, but we also can raise young ox and horse here to turn those into mounts. Those can also be raised and sold to other players. Now, depending on the type of structure that you want to build on your private island, you may need to consider where it has to go. So here on your island you have a few different types of actual land to build on. This dark section here would be good for growing crops and things like that. This, not so much. This would be better suited for perhaps making a lumber mill. If I want, I can go ahead and build a lumber mill there. I cannot, however, put a farm here. It must be placed on sandy ground, it says there. What else we got here? Houses. Novice house can be built here. So what I would do is go ahead and click build. It will cost a certain amount in silver. So now I have a construction site set up here to build a house. I've also got a few other construction sites for building some farmland. It's not a simple matter of just paying silver though. I also need to collect a significant amount of materials that will actually be used to make the structure. Same goes for the farm over here. I need more than silver. I'm gonna need some wood and some stone. So there's quite a bit of farming involved in farming before you start farming. I mean, gathering materials seems to be a very large part of what you do here in Albion Online. Sure, you can just be a fighter if you want. You don't have to worry about gathering materials and stuff like that, but I really feel like not only does this help you by being your own farmer, being your own crafter, help you be more self-sufficient, but it's also more than likely going to make you the money that you need to get the gear that you need to be the fighter, maybe that you want to be. Not to mention also, and this is for me personally, one of the reasons why I really like these types of games is having this deep element of crafting and gathering and stuff like that just adds to the general enjoyment of the experience. I can go fighting and killing in just about any online game nowadays, but not very many of them do it with the type of features and things that are being offered here in Albion Online. I wish I had more to show you guys, but that's as far as I've gotten here in the limited amount of time that I've had to try this out before I wanted to make this video today. But I want to know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What do you think about Albion Online, sandbox games like these? Are you playing the game? What are your thoughts on your experiences so far? If you would like to know more about how to get access to Albion Online, check the description of this video. I've got links that will take you over to Albion Online's website with more details on how to get access. There are founder packs available at this time, various amounts that will give you just minimal access before the game's full release, when it will be free to play, or some significant other benefits, including starter gear, mounts, and stuff like that that I've got on my account. And if you're wondering if I'm going to continue making more videos about Albion Online, I would really like to. As always, a large part of it has to do with your support. If you guys want to see more of this game, I'll be happy to do some more videos, either for informational purposes like tutorials and guides and stuff like that, or just fun stuff like showing crazy PvP matches that I'm having or something like that here in Albion Online. Let me know what your general thoughts are in the comments section below. Click the like button to support these first look videos here on my channel, and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next video. Thanks again for watching. My name is Kinetic, and I'll see you next time.